only sit on the ground, and after a while, the hair began to drip water, which shows that the fog here is so big. In order to prevent accidents, every 5 minutes Wenbin will take a roll call to check everyone's situation. Fortunately, there is nothing else except the fog. An hour later, the power of sunlight is beginning to show. Slowly, you can see something. Wait until the fog clears. It's been 2 hours. Look at me, guys. I look at you. They all looked soaking wet. Especially the girl. I would have worn less. In this way, the figure is perfectly highlighted. It caused a flush on the face. Good thing in the bag I brought some camouflage uniforms. Except for Zavenbing, everyone changed into dry clothes. Come to the edge of the pelvic floor again and look out. The clouds had now dissipated. That village in the moonlight last night. It has been manifested in its entirety. Look through a telescope. Glance. It's a village of about 100 families. From a distance, it is a house made of wood. What about the roof? It is a self-burned earthen tile. The whole village is centered around a well in the middle. But there is a point. No matter which angle you look at. This seemingly unobstructed village seat. But there is always a place that is blocked by other trees or houses. You can't see the whole picture. It seems that someone did it deliberately, but I can't say it. Zavenbing's mind quickly turned around the various clicking formations. Feng Shui orientation. I can't get in touch. After you are ready. According to the memories provided by Zhuo, they were at a distance from the camping site. Find a small mountain path, meandering to the valley floor. Say it's a road. Actually, no one has left for decades. Thorny. Weeds everywhere. Can only let Shuxiong and He Chao open the way with a machete in front. Plus Schwartz. Progress is slow. Down to 100 meters. Even people and mules almost became dangerous several times. Can only carefully pull one by one. After another 50 meters, the soil began to dry out, except for some unknown flowers and plants. There were no trees that stood in the way. Could it be that this cloud is only found at the top? Actually, it doesn't appear below. The old dynasty asked Zonbin. Zonbin looked at the flowers and plants around him, said, I'm afraid so. You see, the further you go to the bottom, the lower the vegetation distribution. We seem to be from a dangerous place, arrived in a safe place. This village is so eccentric. It's better to be careful. Yi Chao and Shuxiong stopped. The guns were examined. One takes the lead and the other is the queen. Zaven was in the middle. Walked for another hour. The terrain is gradually flattening. It looks like it's close to the bottom. Except for the occasional butterfly or two along the way. I didn't even see a single mosquito. Although this is a hot event. But there is a good conscience at the bottom of this valley. But the safer the place, the more dangerous it is. So everyone is also moving forward cautiously. I can't even afford to enjoy the view. I just wanted to get to the village early. Another hour passed. Finally arrived at the entrance of this village. The 2 stone yards at the entrance of the village have been polished a little blurred by the years. There were also 2 stone figures standing next to them. Majestic and majestic. It seems to be the patron saint of this village. People don't dare to slack off. A look at a few archaeology. Immediately came the spirit. Especially Lao Wang and He Chao. Spread your feet. And he passed over the stones. This stone man and stone horse. It's built exactly as it really is. Lao Wang studied for a long time. It is said that the stone should be granite. That's why we can experience thousands of years of wind and frost, and still so well preserved. The stone man looks at it by its size. It's pretty much the same as the average person. It's just that the head is square. What stands out in particular is the pair of eyes. Surprisingly big. It's actually a bit of a postmodern art feel. Judging by the costumes, it should be the Cuban shoe people undoubtedly, but the specific date, Lao Wang couldn't judge it for a while. He asked He Chao to hold the camera, take pictures from all angles. All at once the two of them fell in. Passion for archaeology. Zhao Wenbin and others just came to a clear scene. I took a break on the side of the road. Zhuo Xiong said to go get some dry firewood. Holding back the firewood knife, he entered a forest not far away. Coming down the mountain in the morning, this body is foggy. It really choked the crowd. Zhao Wenbin took out the compass. Get ready to see where the feng shui goes. Who knows? He immediately snorted. Took a few steps. Adjusted a few lower bits. A pointer on the compass. It seems to be out of order. Just keep shaking. It can never be stopped. Zavenbing looked up at the sky. The fog has dissipated. The sun is hanging in the sky. Looks like. Can only wait for the evening. Look at the astrology. This kind of compass is out of alignment. It's not that it hasn't happened. When there is a strong magnetic field disturbance somewhere, this is what happens. The stars in the sky do not change. Zhao Wenbin put away the compass. I was about to go to see Lao Wang's side. Suddenly there was a bang. The tranquility of the valley floor was instantly shattered. Zhao Wenbin put away his smile. It's been a terrible quiet journey. At this moment, gunshots rang out. He shouted at He Chao. Not good. It should be that there is a situation on the blind brother's side. Come in with me. After speaking, he also told Lao Wang and the girl. This place is very quirky. Stay where you are. Don't run around. Before the copy, it's a scout. I have exercised in Tibet again. Didn't say a word. He hurried into the forest with Zaven soldiers. The place to listen to the gunfire should be not far from this resting place. The two of them made their way through the woods quickly. Suddenly, something was shaking in front of it. I'm coming this way. The copycat raised his shotgun and took aim. The finger is placed on the trigger and is ready to fire at any time. The thing was getting closer. But the weeds and trees are already more than one person tall. No matter how you look at it, you can't see what it is. I can only vaguely feel the distance getting closer and closer. He Chao is a scout. He was a soldier of less than 30 meters. The two of them did not dare to move at will. I can only wait where I am. Suddenly, there was a noise from there. Isn't that the voice of a blind man? Zhao Wenbin shouted. Blind brother. They agreed. You're coming. Come over here and smash the handle. The two ran over to take a look. Hey. It turned out that the kid had hit a wild boar. There are hundreds of gold weights. The blind man said with a smile. Come in and eat firewood. Saw this guy. I was knocked down with a single shot. Pull it back later. Pack up. Let's eat wild boar. The three men dragged the boar out of the woods. Just got back to camp. The old king and the little witch are gone. The blind man just came out and naturally didn't know, but Zaman Bing and He Chao knew. When the two of them went in just now, these two are out there. One is studying the stone man. One rests on the ground. It only takes about 10 minutes to get in and out. Where did the two of them go? Zhao Wenbin tore his throat. Shout the names of the two. Empty valley floor. Except for the echo of one after another. Nothing else. This little girl may be running around. But no matter how old the king is also a veteran with professional field quality. Definitely not leaving the team without permission. The three of them took a look at the scene. No traces of destruction or assault were found. The items are all in place in perfect condition. Even the two snails are leisurely grazing. Why are there no people? The three of them looked at the village in front of them. Zhao Wenbin decided to go in first. I took the little girl in with me to investigate. I can't say for sure. Now Zhao Wenbin can only comfort himself like this. To say that people are really in it. There should be a response to that shouting just now. I can't care about tidying up. The three of them headed towards the mysterious village. Run fast. A winding path leads to the village. Several men are good at it. Naturally, it didn't take long to get to the village. Scattered around the house, most of them are solid wood structures, in disrepair. Many are already in tatters. The three of them shouted the name of Lao Wang. Look around. Except for the silence. There was still silence. According to Zhuo Laohan, it's been decades since there was no one here. Fortunately, it was daytime. If it's night, I'm afraid that no one would dare to stay in such a village for the night. The village is not very big. More than half an hour passed. The whole village was searched by 3 people. Nothing. An unsettling premonition befell Zavenbing. He always felt that this place had an indescribable feeling. From the top of the mountain, you could see it from the first glance. Not fear. It's a loss. Right. It's a loss. It's as if there was once a legend here. It's like disappearing into history for no reason. It's like those lost civilizations in the desert. No one knows who built it. No one knows who made them disappear. Suddenly, Zhao Wenbin felt. I fell into an ancient and unknown world. Caught in a state of the unknown. This is completely different from what happened before. Several people searched again. Still no one. Zhao Wenbin looked at the misty Qifeng mountain not far away. Thought. The two of them won't go into the mountains. The 2 big living people were lost. In broad daylight, he was still under his nose. Just in case they wait to come back and find no one, the 3 of them discussed. I decided to wait at the entrance of the village where I had just stopped. Look at a big wild boar. The blind man cut off 2 hind legs. Picked some good meat. A fire was lit and roasted. Helplessly, the 3 of them had no appetite. Still not half of them have. During this period, I went to the village several times to look for it. Nothing was found. One thing they can be sure of is that people certainly don't go out of the mountains. It's also in this village that you're going to go missing. Seeing that the sun is about to go down, Zhao Wenbin decided to make up for it. Take out a turtle shell that you don't know the age of. Throw your hands together and toss them to the ground. The blind man looked at this guy with wide eyes. Thought. This can also find people. Pumper asked impatiently. Hey, Brother Wenbing, how is the hexagram? Is there any news? Zhao Wenbing thought for a moment and slowly spoke. It's not very good from the hexagram. It's a purchase. If you read that right, the 2 of them are now in the 4th shake. The 4th shake of the purchase hexagram is to wrap the fish-free chest. Murder? Is Big Brother saying they are in danger? Zhao Wenbing nodded, picked up the turtle shell and mended it, looked at the turtle shell and said, This is a 3rd shake that is not counted, and the hanging item is not in place. And the 4th shake that is enough to hang is not to enter the stream, which implies encountering danger and disaster. The best thing they can do right now is, it should be moved with stillness. It is possible to avoid danger and calamity. I don't know where they are. judging from the hanging box. Although they are in danger, but it's still alive. It's almost certain that they're still alive. It's just that the situation is not easy to say. Yi Chao is also a dispute after listening. The skill of this gatekeeper. Naturally, he did not doubt it. He said there was danger. That's basically 8 or 9. So what do we do now? Zhao Wenbing looked at the green hills around him. The sun is about to go down and grit its teeth. In situ, etc. 80% of this village is quirky. We'll go in again in the evening. What are the results? Zhao Wenbing asked the two to eat more. Tonight, anyway. So replenish your stamina. These two scouts, extremely experienced in the wilderness, grill the meat. Naturally, there is no ambiguity. Not for a while. Fragrant wild boar, already chewing in the mouths of the two. Zavenbing also from the bag, pull out the dry food and gnaw on the needle. Since the death of her daughter, he has barely stopped eating meat. After dinner, the three of them checked the equipment again. The two scouts pinned the miner's lamp above their heads. This light shines very well. Everywhere the light went, it was bright. Visibility can be several hundred meters. Zaven wanted to look up at Starlight's position, only to find that it was already pitch black overhead. The sun is shining during the day today. Why is there no starlight at night? Nothing can be seen. The blind boy also looked up. The light shines on it. Paint a white patch. I see. It's foggy here at night. The height of the fog is only a few tens of meters, a thick layer. I guess so. It's the same thing as what I saw this morning. The premonition of loss in Zhao Wenbing's heart became stronger and stronger. The construction of this village must have been carried out with care. I just looked down from the top of the mountain. There are a few points that are invisible. I want to see the starlight discrimination at night, but it was covered. It's always shrouded in mystery. It makes people have a kind of ignorance of the true face of Lushan, the feeling of helplessness in this mountain. But I can't do that much at the moment. Since Lao Wang and the little girl are still in danger, in the evening, we will explore the village again. It doesn't matter if it's a man, a beast, or a ghost. You have to come up with a reason. Before you go, the two of them had their ammunition ready. I sorted out the necessary items. Zhao Wenbin gave each of them a heavenly master talisman. Explain if you encounter something that feels wrong. Can set the charm on fire, or throw it in the direction you feel. Carry a gossip bag on his back. Carrying the 7-star sword, one horse entered the village. Zhao Wenbing did not dare to be careless. The three were not separated. Be careful along the way. During the daytime search, there are several very special ancestral halls in the middle of the village, distributed in 4 directions of the village, but the gates were locked. Although it was daytime, look through the crack in the door. It turned out to be pitch black. They also shouted outside the door, but there was no response, and left. This time, the three of them were led by Zavenbing. I went to the ancestral hall first. All ancestral halls, there is a plaque and a couplet. During the day, Zavenbing found out there is no plaque in the ancestral hall, only a modeled couplet of its own. Huangfu famous things are famous through the ages. Thank you for the yin and yang righteousness. After arriving at the ancestral hall, signal everyone to keep quiet. Zavenbing put his ear to the wall and listened for a long time. Nothing came of it. There's still a little bit of red paint left on the door. A large bronze lock that had turned green was locked. The knocker is also made of copper. The copy's headlamp shone on the door. Take a closer look. Bang bang. Whispered. You see what this knocker looks like. Did you see the faces of those two people at the entrance of the village during the day? It's like that. Follow his fingers. Sure enough, both knockers were square faces. The eyes are particularly large. In the middle of the mouth is a copper ring. The huge brass lock was hanging from the brass ring. It seems that the village has a special worship for this face shape. The blind man made a choice. I say, my ancestors here don't all have their heads like this. Square head, big eyes. It doesn't look like me or my dad. The pump slapped the blind man on the head. You don't understand. It's called abstract art. I've seen a little bit of Cuban rat culture. There is no such thing as a square-headed person in this world. Hurry up, let's get this lock open first. Brother Wenbin, are you right? Za Wenbin didn't care about the two bastard boys. I pinched the copper lock with my hand, and it was heavy. Locks are of the older type. A copper heart is threaded through the copper ring and buckled on both sides. This kind of mechanism should not be able to bother the three of them. Just as Za Wenbin pulled the lock up, the blind man found something again and cried out there. Look at the shape of this lock, so strange. It looks like such a monster. Za Wenbin looked down, his heart was shocked, and his eyes stared at it. This monster was none other than the Tao Tai he had seen in his dream. If I'm not mistaken, this is Tao Tai, one of the 4 fierce beasts recorded in the ancient books. Someone used this thing to make a lock. I'm afraid this ancestral hall is not that simple. Be careful for a moment. Don't move around. Don't touch anything inside. The blind man listened. The ancestral hall of the village is a murderous house. I quit immediately. Why is this just coming in and saying, it's not good here in my hometown. It's not good there either. It is also said that the ancestral hall is not clean. Chaozi is patient. Explain it to him. Legend has it that Emperor Xianyuan ate oil in a big battle. Eating oil was chopped. His hand fell to the ground and turned into gluttony. Later, gluttony became a totem. It is carved on various sacrificial vessels. The top frequent visitor in this Inzhou era is gluttony. This thing's head is twisting. Eyes blazing. There is a god. The bridge of the nose is prominent. He has a pair of crooked, skinny feet on his hands. The direction of its bending does not seem to be customized. Or the inner hook resembles an elevation angle. Or curved like a bull's horn. The saw mouth is wide open. Vertical teeth like saws. The mouth is slightly curved with an inner hook. Or a locked mouth. I do a frontal entrenchment. The body arched. Head on the ground. There are a bunch of claws on either side. Like a dog's paw or a bearded paw. There is a bunch of meat wings on either side. The shape is very similar to the ear. The Book of Mountains and Seas says, this guy specializes in cannibalism. You say it's not a beast. Your ancestors are strange. Take this thing to watch the door. What a character. Za Wenbin made a promotion gesture. Said with a laugh. Get the door open first, but don't spoil every plant here. This copper lock. All are locked with spring cards. Look at this streak. I don't know if the spring has failed. Copycat finds a pin in his backpack. Got a few hits. Stuffed into the keyhole and mumbled. Click. A triumphant smile spread across his face. Get. In fact, Kaisuwa is for this scout-turned-archaeological team member. It's not that hard. Not to mention this kind of old antique. The lock that was taken down was gently rested on the ground. Za Wenbin tried to push the door. It didn't move. Could it be that he is tied up behind his back? He motioned for the 3 of them to push together. Click, click, click. An ancient and solemn sound of the door opening. Slowly coming out. Open this. I don't know how many years the ancestral hall has been closed. The 3 of them used a lot of strength. Only one person was allowed to enter and exit. A cold air came from inside. Several people couldn't help but shudder. The copycat turned on the spotlight and shone inside. In the middle of the ancestral hall, there is something that looks like a large stone monument blocking the view. I don't know what's inside. Zaven Bing closed his eyes and felt it for a while. Nothing unusual was noted. The three of them cautiously went in and walked towards the stone tablet. 3 spotlights hit. Only then did I see the true face. A large pitch-black rock, standing on top of a monster with a male body. A pair of wings grow on both sides. Drag that black boulder. This thing. The three recognized it at a glance. It is the shape of the same institute. Pottery stickers. If it is said, the presence of pottery patterns in this village, let Zaven Bing already be confused. So what he saw next? I'm afraid it's even more difficult to explain. A huge gossip map. It was carved on this huge stone tablet. The gossip map was actually carried by this ancient beast. What kind of way is this? The copycat subconsciously pulled out the dagger in the bag. I want to see it up close. Unexpectedly, he felt a force pulling the knife in his hand. His dagger was made of dark iron. What a way to explain this. Zaven stopped him. Hey, I see. This big rock should be a magnet. As soon as I entered this valley, the compass was not normal. At that time, I thought that there must be a huge magnetic field in this valley. I didn't expect this thing to be doing the trick. Judging by the guidance of the compass, I'm afraid there is more than one magnet of this size. Be careful. Don't move. The scribe glanced at the blind man. Thought. Who are your ancestors? It's so mysterious. It's a murderer and a magnet. Brother Wenbin, what do we do now? Za Wenbin looked at this pile of things that he had never seen or heard of. I don't know what to do all of a sudden. Half a day to say. I don't know what that means. Why did the Bagua diagram appear in the ancestral hall of this village? And it's still a gluttonous meal dragged underneath. It cannot be ruled out that there were some people who worshipped fierce beasts in ancient times. But gossip has been an evil thing since ancient times. Obviously 2 contradictory things. Why does it exist? Let's go inside and see. Go ahead. It was 1 or 2 people who bypassed the monument. Just bypassed the moment. The lights illuminate the past. The 3 of them were shocked again. Rows and rows of coffins, neatly arranged in the inner room. There is no gate in this house. Only a few pillars are pressed against the beams. No matter how stupid people are, they already know it now. What a place is this? This is not an ancestral hall at all. It's a righteous village. Those coffins are placed, apparently in accordance with certain specifications. The most conspicuous thing is the one in the middle. A large bronze coffin. The coffin was surprisingly big. Then next to the ordinary wooden coffin, it's more than twice as big. There is also a small bell on each of the 2 feet in front of the coffin. It is carved with a map of thunderclouds. It was placed in the middle of the room and blinked. 7 oil lamps lay under the coffin. There are still some traces of incense candles on the outside. Banknotes are archaeological. What the bronze coffin means. Naturally, he understands. I'm afraid this thing is thousands of years old. The bronzes of the spring and autumn period, and the Warring States period, actually appeared in such a small village in the land of Bashu. Who is such a large bronze object for? And who can build something so big? This series of questions has not had time to think about it. The Zaven soldiers over there had already made a backward gesture. The perception of this unknown origin in these 3 people. Zhao Wenbin is naturally an expert. There is no dragging. The three of them cautiously withdrew outside the door. Fortunately, there were no accidents. It's too late to do anything. Zhao Wenbin asked the two of them to close the door reasonably. It wasn't until the copper lock was locked that I breathed a sigh of relief. This is when the plagiarist found out. Zhao Wenbin was already sweating profusely at the moment. The question in the mind of the copyist, I want to say it all at the moment, looked at the same incredible expression of Zhuxiong on the other side. I can only expect Zhao Wenbin to speak. Why did he let himself retreat just now? There are too many questions in this village. Without waiting for the copyist to speak, Zhao Wenbin said, I don't know what that means. But one thing is certain. In that bronze coffin, it's a tough lord to deal with. With my ability, today if it were in the past, I'm afraid I won't be able to leave this village. The blind man never entered his hometown. Every step of the way to now, I was deeply shocked. This barren land, there are so many mysteries. Why didn't Daddy tell me? The question in his mind, it's not a little bit. I can't wait to get out of the valley right now. Go ask for clarification. Chaozi looked at Zhao Wenbin's appearance. No, he's not lying. It's been so hard for so many years. It's not like something that hasn't happened before. What's more, my father has repeatedly confessed. Anything that you are not sure of, listen to Zhao Wenbin's arrangement. Brother Wenbin, in that coffin, isn't there something unclean? Zhao Wenbin nodded. From walking into this village, I just feel weird here. But some are too quiet. This wilderness has been uninhabited for a long time. It's normal for some lonely ghosts to settle here. But I didn't find a breath. It can only be said that there is an existence here that surpasses ordinary ghosts. Demon. Demon. If I'm not mistaken, the ancestral hall just now should be a righteous village. Bronze antiquity was supposed to be a royal thing. It itself has the effect of warding off evil spirits and righteousness. Such a large bronze coffin. It's not enough to suppress it with gossip. I also used a set of stickers for this most vicious beast. Have you found this door? The material of this door. It should be the legendary golden silk Nanmu. Specifications of the person's funeral has surpassed ordinary human emperors. I don't know who it is though, but it's definitely not something I can handle. As long as we touch that coffin, I'm afraid it will break the situation that the immortals set up here. In my opinion, the village itself is supposed to be a huge and complex town. For the suppression of something evil. The pump was also anxious when he heard it. What about the old king and the little witch? Zaven looked overhead. It was pitch black, gritted his teeth and said, Ugly. They used this place to set up such a big game. Certainly not a general. You see, there is no starlight visible in the middle of the age here, in order not to let people see through it. But no matter how ingenious the game, there must be loopholes. While they are alive, we're going to keep looking. According to the compass's imagination, there should be a similar steel here. One by one, we searched for it. Pay special attention to this kind of ancestral hall. Concentrate on everything. Remember, don't touch anything here. Glancing at the locked door, Zavenbing led the two of them towards the middle of the village. The compass is not available. Before Zaven left, pull out a thin yard rope from the bag. There is a small bell hanging on it, pulled from a doorway against the ground. A bell is hung every other way. The two were naturally puzzled. What does that mean? But Zhao Wenbin didn't speak. Naturally, he has a point. All the way to the village center, Zhao Wenbin walked to the other side. because I searched the village in the afternoon. There's also a huge mansion over there. Such a big house. There are 4 of them in the entire village. They are in 4 directions: southeast, northwest, and northwest. The one to the north is a pile of gluttonous iron locks. At first, they thought it was just an ancestral hall. Sure enough, it was in the house to the south. Gates locked with almost identical locks were also found. It's just that the couplets on the door are different. The style of the lock is also different. Another quirky look. It is shaped like the body of a tiger. The hair is carved like a dog. Above a human face are pig's teeth. A long tail drags. The appearance is very harmful. The scribe only glanced at it and spoke. Zago. This beast must be Taoist. Zawenbing also looked carefully and looked at it carefully. Not bad. This should be the pottery mist. Zhuoxiong on the side was completely confused. What you two said? Isn't this a tiger? Zawenbing pointed to the lock and explained to Zhuoxiong. Although it is a tiger body and tiger claws, but you look closely. This tiger is a human face. Grow a mouthful of pig's fangs. This thing is the pottery mist. Legend has it that it is the embodiment of Rolling, one of the murderers of antiquity. Open the door and go in first. With the experience of the last time, this time it's easier to open the door. Sure enough, at the moment of opening the door, inside it's almost exactly the same layout. Black gossip steel. It's just that the support beast below has turned into a peach. Bypassing the steel is another row of coffins. There is an almost identical bronze coffin in the middle. After a careful withdrawal, Zavin pulled a hemp rope again. Next, the post houses in the north and south directions were opened. Except for the beast on the door lock, everything else is the same. The beast to the west is Chaos. The beast on the east side is Chi-Chi. After reading it all, Zawenbing was already in a cold sweat. This was completely unexpected. The 4 great beasts of antiquity, Gluttony, Chaos, Poor Chi and Taoist, respectively in this little remote village, guarding 4 huge bronze coffins. For extremely rare natural porcelain stones were also used, created gossip suppression. To know, these 4 beasts are almost. It's synonymous with ferocity. They are the embodiment of 4 great evildoers. That is to say, 3 seedlings, Ring Pockets, Tribute Palace and Roll. They were all killed for rebelling against those in power. The spirit is immortal after death, said to be evil by those in power. That is, the 4 major monsters. These 4 fierce gods constitute such a bureau. It has surpassed the limits of human production at that time. This little mountain village, how could someone practice it too? Such a huge bronze artifact, and also laid such a huge one. An extremely vicious array composed of 4 divine beasts. What exactly is something prepared? For twines were gathered in the array. The location is unbiased. It's on top of that ancient well. Zawenbing tied a knot in the middle of the ancient well. I felt that there was an extra bell in the back. It's hanging on there. He thought that since it was a formation, then it is always laid out by people. Lao Wang and the girl disappeared for no reason. I'm afraid it has nothing to do with this strange array. Now this situation is very passive. Just passively carry it out to the end. Wait for the rabbit. As long as something shows up tonight, you might even come across these strings. Laid out. The Zaman soldier glanced at the nearby house, picked the nearest room, beckoned the 2 to hide inside. Stone and wood houses in disrepair. As soon as you enter, there is a musty smell that rushes straight to your nose. But now this time, I can't help but think about it. Can only wait quietly. After extinguishing all light, the whole village was plunged into endless darkness. This lost village is like hell. devoured in an instant. The trio struggled to adjust their breathing rate. Try not to make any big noises. In addition to waiting. I don't know how long I waited. Keep one action the same for a long time. All three of them were a little numb in their legs and feet. Especially Zhao Wenbin commanded, because of the fear of smelling. So you can't even pee. You can imagine how uncomfortable it is. The outside world is nothing but pitch black. It's a deep serenity. It's quiet enough to break down. The other two were not scouts. It's really untenable. The copycat raised his hand to look at his luminous watch. The hands were already approaching 12 o'clock. He gently patted Zhao Wenbin on the side with his hand. Signal if you want to make a move. Signal not to move. Keep waiting. Even if it is dawn, you have to wait. Because he knows. The hexagram has already said that it needs to be braked statically. At the moment, except to wait quietly. There is no other way. Suddenly, 2 crisp bells rang outside. In this deserted village. It's so loud. It's also so piercing. Zhao Wenbin knows. Waited all night. It's finally here. Don't wait for him to say hello. The 2 people on the side quickly turned on the spotlights. Carrying a shotgun, one lunge rushed out of there. The already dilapidated wooden door. Straight in the direction of the ringtone. Ancient wells. Zhao Wenbin, who followed closely, did not dare to relax at all, and followed closely. Tactical spotlights sweep. The village was still in the dark just now. Now it looked so bright. At the moment when they jumped out of the wooden door, the sound of 2 falling water came from not far away. Zhao Wenbin shouted from behind. Not good. Hurry up. The superiority of the scout is vividly manifested at this moment. The 3 of them rushed in the direction of Gujing almost at a speed of 100 meters. When the lights are not yet shining. In the middle of his eyes, Zhuxiong saw the shot of the end of the village illuminated by the lights in the distance. A figure flashed by. He subconsciously raised his hand to shoot it. The strong recoil caused him to pause slightly. Look up again. There was no one left. Zhao Wenbin knew what he had found. But at the moment, I can't bother to catch up. Because the Gujing side is the most important. He glanced slightly in the direction of the gun. Shouted again. Middle. Fast. Zhuxiong had no choice but to put down his gun, running briskly towards the middle of the village.